Hello, my name is Sian, and if you're into anything deep, dark, or disturbing, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm sure you have some conspiracy theories that keep you up at night. I also do, and we're going to go through them today. So the first one is the Denver airport. And if you're into conspiracy theories, I'm pretty sure you have heard this one before. If not, then get prepared because it's a little crazy. So the Denver International Airport, also known as the DIA, isn't just one of the busiest airports in the United States, it's also one of the most mysterious. Since it opened in 1995, it has sparked decades of conspiracy theories that span from secret military operations and global elites to aliens and even doomsday bunkers. So this has just your typical conspiracy theories written all over it. These theories thrive because of a mixture of very strange architectural choices, cryptic artworks, lots and lots of budget problems, and the airport's own willingness to play along with all of these rumors. While most of the claims that you might have heard have been debunked or explained, the sheer number of bizarre details make DIA one of the most conspiracy-rich places on Earth. And every single time I revisit this conspiracy theory, things just keep getting weirder and weirder. So the conspiracy theories actually started before the airport even opened its doors. Originally, the DIA was supposed to open in 1993, but it was delayed by over 2 years and went more than $2 billion over budget, which is a massive increase that was never actually fully explained. So it actually replaced the Stapleton Airport, which locals believed was functioning just fine. And the sheer size of the new airport also raised a lot of eyebrows. It covers 53 square miles, making it the second largest airport in the world by land area. And if you don't think 53 square miles sounds that big, let me just put things into perspective for you. San Francisco, California is about 47 square miles, so the DIA is larger than the entire city of San Francisco. Manhattan in New York City is about 22.8 square miles, meaning DIA is more than twice the size of Manhattan. It's roughly the same size as Washington, D.C., which is about 68 square miles, so the DIA is just a little bit smaller than the whole of Washington, D.C. So it's really big. And the question is, why is it so big? Some theorists believe that the extra room isn't just for planes and terminals, but it is for something that people are hiding underground. So, speaking of underground, beneath the airport lies a vast network of tunnels and underground buildings. Officially, these were actually built as some sort of a high-tech baggage handling system, which famously failed shortly after it launched. The system was eventually shut down after wasting millions and millions of dollars, but the tunnels remained underground. They didn't actually take them away or really replace them with anything. So today, many people believe that these tunnels are not empty, but are instead actually used for classified military transport, doomsday bunkers for global elites, or even underground prisons. Some even claim that these tunnels connect to Cheyenne Mountain, which is a real military base 100 miles south that houses the NORAD, which is the North American Aerospace Defense Command. While no evidence has ever really proven such a connection, the scale and the secrecy of the underground systems fuel the belief that the DIA might be prepared for something like a major global catastrophe, nuclear war, economic collapse, or even extraterrestrial contact. Some people also believe that these underground tunnels and hidden areas of the airport even mirror the back rooms, where one wrong turn leads to being trapped in a featureless void. Some people have claimed on social media platforms and conspiracy forums that they worked at the DIA or know someone who did, and that they actually entered areas that they weren't supposed to.
In case I don't see.
These stories often feature very long, echoing hallways, empty service elevators, or corridors that go on longer than seems possible. A few people have even reported strange feelings of disorientation, lost time, or confusion, which are classic signs of the backrooms lore. Whether these are exaggerated, fictional, or based on real disorienting work experiences, they do help keep the idea of this conspiracy theory alive. People also report that the DIA just has a weird vibe. There's a lot of strange art, there's weird statues, and there's strange signage and symbols that show up around the airports, and people often report a feeling of unease, kind of like something is just off. The lighting, colors, the cavernous terminals sometimes remind people of liminal spaces, which is pretty much like the back rooms, and it's basically just those in-between places like empty hotels or stairwells that make you just feel slightly disconnected from reality. One of the most infamous details is the layout of the airport's runways. When viewed from above, the 5 runways appear to form the shape of a swastika, a disturbing association for many, many people, especially when paired with other very dark imagery inside the airport. The DIA officials claim that the design is meant to allow planes to take off in all weather conditions and directions, which is likely true, but it hasn't stopped people from drawing connections to Nazis, global domination, and the shadowy New World Order, which is a whole another conspiracy theory for another video, but also quite scary, if I say so myself. So just inside the terminal is a dedication plaque with a time capsule buried beneath it, set to be opened in the year 2094. But what caught the public's eye wasn't the time capsule itself, it was the inscription on the time capsule. The plaque actually bears the symbol of the Freemasons, which is a centuries-old fraternal organization often tied to conspiracy theories involving things like global control, secret societies, and of course the Illuminati. There are just conspiracy theories within conspiracy theories in this airport, and they have just done this to themselves. Even stranger, the plaque also references a group called the New World Airport Commission, which also sounds like the New World Order, may I add. And this is a group that does not appear to exist anywhere outside of the plaque. It's not really like a well-known organization that you read and you're like, oh, I've heard of that before. It doesn't exist. So it's just a very strange detail to add to this time capsule. I spoke earlier about just strange murals and art around the airport. So inside the DIA are 2 large murals by the artist Leo Tanguma that have drawn intense criticism and speculation. The murals are bold, surreal, and deeply symbolic if you look into them. One mural shows soldiers in gas masks, children in coffins, and a fiery scene of just chaos and destruction. And the second mural shows a bit more of a hopeful and like a peaceful scene. According to Tanguma, the murals are meant to tell this sort of story of humanity overcoming war, environmental destruction, and oppression to build a better world in the end. However, many travelers that land up at the airport find them deeply unsettling, as would I, especially in an airport setting. It's almost as if they feel like these murals are out of place. And yeah, I can say I would probably feel the same. Conspiracy theorists argue that these images are actually hidden messages, either a warning of future events or a blueprint for a coming apocalypse, or even part of some sort of psychological operation to normalize chaos. And this is kind of like that other conspiracy theory, I think it's called predictive messaging? I could be wrong, maybe correct me on that. But it's where people put like hidden messages or these predictions of chaos or disease or something in a cartoon or something that we see on the daily basis. Like The Simpsons is a very good example of these catastrophic events to kind of numb us to the idea of it happening, so that once it happens, we're not that surprised because we've seen it before. So people think that this is kind of the same thing. The very dramatic scenes of death and rebirth fit easily into doomsday narratives and have helped the theory go viral over the years. And now probably the most famous part of the airport is Blucifer, known as the demon horse that killed its creator. So Blucifer is a massive 32-foot tall blue Mustang statue with glowing red eyes. Officially named the Blue Mustang, it stands at the airport's entrance and looks more like something from a horror film than a welcome sculpture that is meant to make travelers feel welcome at an airport and a new place. The statue became even more legendary when it killed its creator, artist Luis Jimenez, after a piece of the sculpture fell on him and severed an artery during construction. If that's not a sign to stop building the thing and take it out of there, then I don't know what is. The glowing eyes were meant to be some sort of tribute to Jimenez's father, who worked with neon, but they only add to the statue's eerie reputation. I mean, this thing quite literally murdered a man, and now it has glowing red eyes. Is that not terrifying? Many believe that blue sapphire symbolizes death, surveillance, or some sort of demonic force, and it's often linked to the airport's broader themes of hidden power and violence. And I'm not surprised because it looks that way. Some theories even go far beyond the secret bunkers in the airport. Some of them are pretty extreme. Some people claim that the airport is a hub for extraterrestrial life or even reptilian shapeshifters. Again, more conspiracy theories within conspiracy theories. And these reptilian shapeshifters are said to be working with world governments to manipulate humanity. These ideas stem from the airport's size, its underground structure, and strange design choices, as well as its relative isolation on the edge of Denver. Claims of hidden alien technology, genetic experiments, and mind control programs have popped up on online forums like 4chan, Reddit, and even YouTube documentaries. People believe that they are using these spaces to maybe perform like experiments on other life forms, kind of like an Area 52, if you will. I mean, who knows what they are doing down there? We'll probably never know. What makes this conspiracy theory even more bizarre is how the airport itself has embraced all of these rumors. Instead of denying everything and saying everything is simply just a theory, the DIA has actually leaned into it a lot and put up posters around the airport to poke fun at the theories with slogans like, "Are we hiding aliens? Only our lizard overlords know," or, "What's happening behind this wall? Is it giant lizard people? Freemason headquarters?" There's even a section of the airport's website that lists all the theories and makes jokes about them. So that feels a bit weird to me. I don't know, or is it weird? Because if they are just playing into all the jokes, then do they have something to hide? I feel like usually airports or, just big government organizations would deny all of these rumors, but I don't know, they seem to be having fun with them. So this strategy has made the DIA some sort of a tourist attraction, which, makes sense. I would love to go there one day for conspiracy fans and theorists alike, but it also adds a strange double bluff feeling. It's kind of like, is the airport hiding something and mocking us about it? I don't know. If you get a chance, go see for yourself. At the end of the day, even if you don't believe any of these theories with the Denver airport, it's still hard not to feel something when walking past a statue with glowing red eyes and knowing that it killed its creator. And what's more unsettling is that there's so many of the features in the airport, like the artwork, the symbolism, and the structures. All these things exist without full explanations. And the airport may claim that everything is innocent and it's just there for, decoration purposes, but it leaves just enough ambiguity to keep a lot of people guessing and a lot of people coming up with all these different theories. So that is the Denver airport. Great conspiracy theory to go down a rabbit hole on if you are ever bored and want something to do at 2 a.m. The next one that I want to dive into is another favorite one of mine, and it is the pyramids of Egypt. And the fact that these things were definitely not built by humans, and I will die on this hill. So the Great Pyramids of Giza, especially the Great Pyramid of Khufu, are among the most impressive and mysterious structures in human history. They literally create more questions and more questions as the years go on. And they were built over 4,500 years ago during a time where there were no machines, no steel tools, and no advanced engineering at all. Or at least as far as we know. There probably must have been to build these bloody things. And yet these massive pyramids are still standing today. They are made up of millions of limestone and granite blocks, some weighing more than 50 tons, and they are put together with such precision that not even a credit card can fit between two stones. If you think about it, we were a lot dumber 4,500 years ago. I think we'd be able to pull it off today, but back then, I don't know. And because of this, many people wonder, could ancient humans really have done this alone? Maybe they were part of the project, but maybe they had some sort of help from some sort of other life form. This question is at the heart of one of the most famous conspiracy theories in the world, that the pyramids weren't built by humans at all. If you've watched Ancient Aliens, then you've probably watched the episodes on these. And I probably look like that crazy scientist with the curly hair right now, but they had to have help. So there are several different versions of this theory, but they all suggest the same basic idea that something beyond human capability was involved in building the pyramids. So the first theory is the ancient aliens, which I'm sure everyone probably knows. It's a very well-known theory, and it claimed that extraterrestrial beings has visited Earth in ancient times and either built the pyramids themselves using their advanced alien technology, or secondly, taught humans how to build them using tools and knowledge far beyond what was available at the time and that we probably haven't even seen yet. This idea became very popular through TV shows like Ancient Aliens and books that question mainstream history. Supporters of this theory just believe that the pyramids are too perfect, too big, and too advanced to have been made by simple hand tools and manpower alone. The second theory is that the pyramids were built by a highly advanced ancient civilization, one that existed long before the Egyptians and was wiped out by a global disaster. This is often linked to the myth of Atlantis, which is a powerful and advanced society said to have sunk into the ocean. This has also developed into quite the conspiracy Atlantis, because they actually think they might have found it on the west of the Sahara Desert, I think. There's some structures and things that emulate what it was described as, but we can get into that another time. So according to this theory, the survivors of Atlantis, or just another advanced group, this was just one of the theories, passed their knowledge along to early humans, helping them build the pyramids. The third theory is that time travelers or interdimensional beings have visited us. This just suggests that people from the future or beings from another dimension traveled back in time and built the pyramids, or helped humans do it at least. Their goal was maybe to just leave a message or record knowledge or influence the path of human history. Maybe they just wanted to confuse us because we are confused. And while this version definitely sounds like science fiction, we don't think time traveling is possible, although Neil deGrasse Tyson thinks we can travel forward in time, just not back in time, so technically still impossible. It reflects just how far people will go to explain this whole mystery. So even though most historians and scientists agree that humans built the pyramids, many people still believe in these alternative theories, and here's why. Firstly, the scale and the weight. The Great Pyramid is made up of around 2.3 million blocks, and some weigh up to 80 tons. That's the weight of over 50 cars in one block. Moving and placing those stones with no cranes, bulldozers, or wheels seems pretty impossible, so people ask, how did they do it without any help? How did they do it with just humans? I don't think you could get any amount of humans to pick up that block with just their hands. Okay, number 2, the precision at which these pyramids were built. So the base of the Great Pyramid is almost perfectly aligned with true north, and the structure is extremely accurate with all of its angles and measurements. Some of the joints are actually so tight that modern tools would struggle to match them. That kind of precision seems really strange for a civilization that was supposedly using copper chisels and wooden sleds. And 3, the math and the astronomy. Some people say that the pyramid's dimensions hide advanced knowledge. For example, the ratio of the perimeter of the height of the pyramid is very close to pi. Coincidence? I don't know, maybe. But secondly, the pyramid's layout seems to mirror the stars in Orion's belt, and I think that is maybe less of a coincidence because these people could see the stars at that time. And the Egyptians were also known to link their gods and their afterlife to this specific constellation, so I think that one was definitely intentional. These patterns just make some people believe that the builders had very advanced knowledge of math and astronomy, possibly more than the ancient humans should have known in the first place. Number 4, the missing construction records. We don't have any detailed blueprints or written records explaining exactly how the pyramids were built. There's no ancient manuals or step-by-step guides or anything that we've been able to find that gives us any kind of reasoning behind why this was built and how it was built. For conspiracy theorists, just the lack of evidence is evidence. They believe that the real story has just been lost or maybe hidden on purpose. And then number 5, similar ancient structures that are across the world. People also point to the fact that other ancient sites around the world, like the Stonehenge in England, the Nazca Lines in Peru, and Machu Picchu, are also large, precise, and also very mysterious. These sites all seem to share quite a few things in common: giant stones, astronomical alignments, and unknown construction techniques. Some believe that they're all connected by some sort of force that is the same, or just some kind of ancient knowledge that we just cannot find nowadays. Okay, cool, so this is a conspiracy theory, but what do the experts say? So most mainstream archaeologists, Egyptologists, and historians strongly reject the idea that aliens or time travelers built the pyramids, which makes sense. They point to growing evidence that ancient Egyptians did build them, just with a lot of hard work, planning, and pretty clever engineering. So some of the things that may have helped them build the pyramids are: number one, worker villages. Excavations near the pyramids show that there were actually worker towns placed around the pyramids, with housing, bakeries, tools, and even graveyards. These show that thousands and thousands of people actually lived and worked there in very organized teams. They weren't slaves, but well-fed laborers who worked in rotations, kind of like construction crews when you are excavating and building a huge structure. Number two was the tools and the engineering. So archaeologists have actually found copper chisels, wooden sleds, and ramps that were used to move and shape the stones. They've even recreated some of these techniques in modern day experiments, and while it's very slow and very, very difficult, it is possible to do. The question is just, were these humans capable of coming up with these ideas? And did they do it like how we are thinking they did it? Number three was the knowledge of the stars. So ancient Egyptians were excellent astronomers. They needed to track the stars and the seasons to plant crops and plan festivals. So it does make sense that they could align their buildings with the stars too, using tools like plumb lines, sighting rods, and just basic geometry. So that one, they were just definitely smart enough to know that. And then number four was the pi and the golden ratio coincidences. So the theory that the pyramid hides pi or the golden ratio is very interesting, but most experts do think that these numbers are just coincidences and not proof of advanced mathematics that was far beyond their time. Ancient builders used practical ratios like 4:1 to build stable shapes, and modern observers may be reading way too much into the numbers to be making any assumptions like that. So why do these theories end up sticking around if historians and archaeologists think that they are completely fake? So the idea that aliens or lost civilizations built the pyramids is pretty exciting, and that may be the reason why I truly believe in it. It's more thrilling than thinking about thousands of sweaty workers simply just pushing a stone up a ramp and it taking them thousands and thousands of years to build these bloody things. It also taps into much deeper feelings like the fear that we've lost ancient knowledge or that we're not being told the whole truth. And let's be honest, it is a great story. Mysterious monuments, secret knowledge, otherworldly visitors. It does kind of sound like something out of a movie. And yeah, it's fresh and exciting, Times are boring when you have an 8-to-5 job, so I get it. And that's why these series just keep showing up in books, documentaries, YouTube videos, and TV shows. There's no solid evidence that aliens, time travelers, or lost civilizations built the pyramids, and all the clues that we have do point to real people doing this in a really boring and natural way, working with basic tools, guided by skilled planners, and just a very strong culture and willpower. But that doesn't make the pyramids any less amazing. In fact, it makes them even more impressive. If you do think about it, without modern machines, GPS, or electricity, people 4,500 years ago managed to build some of the most long-lasting and perfect structures in history. But again, boring. So I'm going to believe that aliens and time travelers helped them. Great, thank you very much. The third theory that we're going to be diving into today is the burnt toast theory. And I've been seeing this a lot on my TikTok, so maybe you have too. So the burnt toast theory is the idea that small, annoying things that happen to us, like burning your toast in the morning before work, might actually be protecting us from something much worse. It suggests that any delays or setbacks in our life that seem like bad luck or just clumsiness could be the very things that save us from danger without us ever knowing. The name comes from the image of someone burning their toast, getting delayed by a few minutes, and avoiding something bad that would have happened if they had left precisely on time and not burnt their toast. So this theory didn't come from any specific science or textbooks. It grew out of internet culture, especially places like TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube, where people just shared stories of strange coincidences and near misses. And even though this whole theory is new, the idea behind it is quite old. Philosophers like the Stoics believe that everything happens for a reason, and the butterfly effect from chaos theory talks about how very small things can make very big changes in your life. So this is nothing new, it's just very specific and points to those little annoying things that delay you in life. Many people have come up and talked about stories where this idea seems to make sense. For example, some people who worked in the World Trade Center on 9/11 say that they were late to work because of very small things like traffic, spilled coffee, or a sick child, and ended up not being there when the attacks happened. Some people have also missed their usual bus and later found out that the bus was in an accident. And at the time they were frustrated, but looking back, they feel quite lucky and grateful to have missed their usual bus. I'm sure you can even look back on your life and think of a few times where this burnt toast theory may have protected you from something. At first, the burnt toast theory can feel quite comforting. It probably makes people feel like things happen for a reason, but when you really think about it, it can also be quite scary. It means that life is very unpredictable and we're always close to something going completely wrong and throwing our life on a complete different trajectory. We just obviously don't see it or experience it because of these small things happening. It just reminds you of how little control we really have. So when people speak about this theory, they often are speaking of it in quite a distressed tone because it is scary thinking about it.
So we've all heard of the burnt toast theory, right? The idea is that if something inconvenient happens to you, like you burn your toast in the morning, takes you another 5-10 minutes to remake your breakfast, that extra time that you took actually works in your favor. For example, you may have avoided a catastrophic event, or you may have avoided bumping into someone you don't like, or you may end up bumping into the love of your life. But that wouldn't have happened had you not burnt your toast in the morning. So last night, we're driving home from a friend's house. It's like 1:30, and we get a text message. I left my bag there. I asked my husband if he can turn around. It's only going to take a few minutes. He's like, no, we're going to see them. He's like, no, we're going to see them in a few days. They can just bring your bag then. I'm like, no, let's turn around and grab it. We ended up grabbing it, and we're on our way home. I ask him, have you ever heard of the burnt toast theory? He's never heard of it. I explained to him. He brushes it off, whatever. So we're almost home. We exit the highway, and there is a massive accident. One car is on the island, the other one is half on the sidewalk, half on the street, airbags deployed. There's only one lane, so we can't even stop. Didn't look like anyone called 911, no emergency services. We drive past, and I turn to my husband, and I'm like, have you ever heard of the burnt toast theory? And we both looked at each other. Like I said, no one was calling 911. Maybe they didn't want to. I was suspecting maybe a drunk driver was involved because I had called in 911 for another accident a couple months ago, and it ended up with an arrest of a drunk driver at that exact same spot. I ended up calling emergency services, came within like 5 minutes. I hope everyone is okay, but I really couldn't help but think that could have been us. Even if it wasn't us in the accident, had I not left my bag at my friend's house, who knows how long it would have taken for someone to call 911. Honestly, I was kind of spooked, but I can't be the only one this has happened to. Has this ever happened to you?
And the creepy part is that you never really know once you've been saved. I mean, it's not every single time that a small delay will potentially save you from something catastrophic, but because you've had the small delay, you'll just never know if it did save you from something. You just go on with your day, not realizing that a tiny problem might have changed your entire future. So this theory has just become very popular online because it gives people a way to make sense of frustrating or random events. Many people relate to many other people that have experienced this kind of thing. It gives hope that setbacks are part of something bigger, and it also makes for pretty powerful stories, and I feel like that's why it has gotten so trendy on social media over the years. It just mixes mystery, luck, fear, and meaning all in one, and it reflects a quiet belief that life has some hidden order even when everything feels chaotic. And there you have it. Those are 3 conspiracies that have been keeping me up at night. I think about them a lot, and there are a lot more conspiracy theories on my mind as well. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, and please let me know if you would like to see more conspiracy theories. I love conspiracies and I love speaking about them. Please let me know what your thoughts are. I hope that you have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. Bye.